back to the Man On podcast. This is our second ever podcast. I really felt like the first one went well.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't think we'd make it this far, to be honest.
Yeah, we thought we were going to give up already, but we're here. We've already had 2 prediction videos filmed, and we're feeling pretty good about this. So today we've introduced some new segments. Hopefully this will become a reoccurring thing on the podcast. But first of all, I think we should start with a recap of the week that's just been. So we're going to look at the games, we're going to give a little bit of insight. We're not going to stick around too much because you'll see, in-depth analysis in the predictions sometimes. So should we start with Arsenal-Newcastle?
Yeah, so I've got a few things about this one. So really solid from Arsenal. Who actually, I think they've won 4 of their last 5 games.
Yeah, they're in.
So really coming into nice and form. Pretty much in cruise control for most of the match. Really good to see Aubameyang back on the score sheet, 2 goals.
Yeah. He missed his sitter in the first half, but definitely, I
thought
it took the jokes away.
Definitely, I thought Thomas Partey was excellent as well. Yeah. Really important. Big signing over the off season. Smith Rowe, wow, this guy, man, he's good. He's good. I think he's going to be good in the future. Next Kevin De Bruyne. We'll see. But he averages a goal and assist now for every 96 minutes of play. Like that's top tier. Like as we'll see later on in the podcast, those are like top tier numbers.
Football's a very reactionary sport, and you give him some time, and he's going to settle into the squad. But also with it, those goals and assists will probably dry out.
Yeah, but it's still really impressive the way he started.
Yeah, sure, he started well.
The other one
but you need to watch him. You need to watch him for a couple of weeks.
The other one that impressed me for Arsenal was Saka. Yeah, he was good. He was good. Also, look, Newcastle haven't won any of their last 9 games. They were weak, no fight, limp, pathetic. Look, honestly, it's just not good enough from Newcastle. I think Steve Bruce.
It's time to go.
It's got time to go.
I can't believe I predicted a draw.
Yeah, there's no way he can stick around for me.
Probably the worst prediction of the week, I think.
Yeah.
1-1 draw.
Yeah. I thought Arsenal would crumble. But they were picking up some form, but
yeah. I do think Arsenal can push the top 7 now. Genuinely believe that. Well, 4 of their last 5 in good form. Look, there's a big opening because it's sort of like you've got the top 4 to 5 sides, in my opinion, that are probably like around that area, but the last couple of spots, there's a lot of teams fighting for them. And I think
for the Europa League spots.
And I think based purely on form, I think that Arsenal are probably in a really good position.
Yeah, well, if they were to win this week and say Chelsea lost to Wolves, they would actually go above Chelsea.
Yeah, and say what you will about how Arsenal started the season, there's still enough talent there. They should be getting Europa League at least at the bare minimum every season.
Yeah, especially if this game is anything to go by for Aubameyang now starts scoring. Yeah. They've got their goals back.
That's going to be scary.
I thought Rob Holding was pretty good as well.
Yeah. Should we move on to West Ham West Brom? 2-1 West Ham. There's not much to say.
Expected result there, I think.
Well, expected result, but West Brom probably could have.
It was a really hard fought game by West Ham. I'm a bit disappointed because I predicted a 2-2, and West Brom had a really good chance in the 89th minute to tie it up, and probably should have scored.
Yeah.
So I would have got another one correct. But look, West Ham dominated possession and attacking opportunities. West Brom gave themselves a chance, which is what they're going to have to do for most games. Just give themselves a chance. So I can't be too harsh and too critical of West Brom. But look, they're in a prime position to get relegated now, and
I think they're 5 points off the safety, I think.
I think so, yeah.
But they need to start getting results against those lower clubs. And West Ham was probably a step too far because, they're actually having a great season. They continue to impress me,
Antonio finally hit the score sheet as well.
Exactly, very important. But yeah, I think that's really enough said by that,
Pretty crazy to think that, for me, the biggest favourite for relegation this year was maybe West Ham, and now they're sort of maybe pushing for Europe. That's crazy.
It's a huge turnaround.
And I think they're one of the teams that have benefited immensely from not having fans in the stadium.
Yeah.
Especially with the animosity towards the ownership and everything.
That's absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
So should we talk about the elephant in the room?
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Maybe I should start with the talking for this one. They were extremely flat. They didn't get going. The only 2 times they ever looked like scoring was when Pulisic was almost through on goal. He wriggled his way around the defence and got fouled on the edge of the box, and we're talking an inch away from being a penalty. It looked a penalty at first shout. Wasn't, obviously. and Mason Mount smashed it over the bar. But when you're that close, it's so hard to control that free kick. You know, the classic thing in football is if you turn off for a second, then you know you can be punished, and that's exactly what Chelsea did. They missed their free kick, and then Leicester went up the other end, scored their second goal, pretty much iced it just then. You know, Leicester played fantastically. There's no taking away from that. And obviously Timo Werner, he did put the ball in the back of the net, and again, a matter of inches, he was offside. So we lost that game 2-0. Didn't look like winning. Maybe it was a bit unlucky to not get on the score sheet, but you know, that's football, I guess. So I don't really have much to say.
How do we all go with our predictions on that one? We all get that right, basically, with that win.
I went Chelsea 4-1. not the best pick, but honestly, Leicester are a legitimate title challenger for me right now.
I'd agree. I actually think Vardy's injured now.
Oh really?
Yeah, I didn't look at it too closely, but I saw that Vardy is now injured, and that could seriously cost them.
That could derail their season.
It really could. Let's hope it's not too long. Enough said about that. Who do you want to talk about next?
We'll move on to the best team in the league, I would say at the moment, Manchester City, and Aston Villa, another team in form, I would say, to a certain degree, despite missing some football with COVID-related issues. But yeah, look, that was a sensational game. It was really back and forth, opportunities from both sides, a bit of controversy, a bit of VAR, you know, but both defences were like really, really excellent. I thought Tyrone Mings played really well despite the error leading to the first goal.
Yeah.
Look, Ruben Dias might just be the best defender in the world on current form. I know these guys are probably not going to be happy with that, but I truly believe that he's unreal. Bernardo Silva, who he said was one of our most disappointing players this season, coming into some form. Gundogan is probably
reactionary.
Gundogan's probably it's been over a few weeks, legitimately.
One game.
Gundogan this season has been a top 5 midfielder in the league, straight up.
He's been decent.
Fantastic game for Rodri, who was probably man of the match. He's controlled the midfield, just like sort of proving some of the doubters, including myself. I was not too happy with his first season. Wrong, near perfect performance from him. Look, Aston Villa had the right to feel aggrieved by this one. Look, it was a tough decision. By the letter of the law, it was a goal. There was nothing. Rodri didn't do anything wrong, but I can understand their frustration.
Because if that goal had said, you know, been chalked off as offside, they probably would have come away with a point, you know.
You say that, but City were consistently having excellent chances. Like,
but once
Cancelo hits the bar. It's not as if it like really opened up for City post that goal.
But it demoralises Aston Villa. You know, they've defended so well the entire game. They're still in it, and if they, you know, they get to the 80th minute and they still haven't conceded, there's only 10 minutes of football left to go. You know, that's when they get their heads down and go, we can get a result here. And who knows, maybe they go on the counter-attack as you get desperate for a win. They score a goal themselves. It definitely could have gone a different way.
Title-winning teams just find a way to win, and I think City.
City built it.
I don't think City were doing that last season. City were nearly as good as they were in the previous 2 seasons, but when it really mattered, when it was time to scrap a result, were unable to do so too often. And this season, it seems like it's almost the opposite, especially like. Coming, you know, in the recent weeks, like results just seem to come, you know, either if it's 1-0 or 2-0 or 2-1, you know, whatever it is, it just sort of seems like whatever it takes, City are able to do it. But yeah, look, I think City were very, very deserving winners in the end. I don't think there can be many arguments about that, whether Villa played well or not.
Okay, so winning teams always, league winning teams always find a way to win.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip over Manchester United and go to the current Premier League champions. Did they find a way to win against Burnley at home?
They did not.
I would just like to start by apologising to all 2 Burnley fans out there.
In the world.
Because I absolutely clowned you guys and I said there is no way in hell you're going to win at Anfield. And you've gone and won at Anfield. Don't get me wrong, you're extremely lucky not to concede in that game. We'll get on to that later. But I just wanted to apologise to all 2 of you. You guys are proving me wrong.
I'm kind of disappointed because their 68 like unbeaten run at Anfield is over. Like they couldn't have gone 1 more week. Come on!
I missed opportunity.
I missed opportunity.
Let's have a look who would have been that team to beat them at home if that had happened. Brighton and Hove Albion.
Yeah.
So I just don't think...
Masterclass.
Oh
my god.
I Burnley can do it. Anyone can do it. Burnley hasn't scored away from home since October.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
In all seriousness, Chelsea's 84 game home undefeated run, that looks to be like it's never going to be broken.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, it's up there with the greatest records in the Premier League history.
Definitely.
Along with the 15 goals conceded, I don't see that ever really happening. Not in the way that the ball moves. You know, there's too many ways that a team can score now. Yeah. You know, they get a quick decision their way. VAR changes it. There's no way that's ever going to be broken.
Yeah.
There's not much that we really need to say about the Liverpool game other than that they played poorly, they let themselves down, they let their fans down, and now...
You just need better.
What I would say, right, it's really important not to overreact to sort of one game. But this felt like almost a seismic match in terms of the league title like race this year. It's almost a huge momentum shifter. Like, I know Liverpool have been really poor and haven't scored in any of their last 4, but it just feels like losing this run, this amazing run at Anfield they've been on, their form at the moment, haven't scored in their last 4, they haven't obviously won any of their last 4.
They've only got 3 points from their last 15 available, which is absolutely pathetic.
It's been a really poor, and it just feels like this is the icing on the cake in terms of the poor performances, and
look,
it's going to be hard to recover from here. I know they're not too far off the top, but
6 points. They're 6 points off at the halfway stage of the season,
and it's hard, in my opinion, to see them catching, especially City and even United at this point. And I know that's like really. It's still only halfway through the season, but it'd be hard to see City really losing a lot of points the same way Liverpool have at this point. Like,
well, look,
especially with the defensive record that City have right now and the plethora of attacking talent they have going forward, it's going to be really tough for Liverpool, I think.
Well, they've played 19 games. Obviously, they've only won 9. That's 10 games this season. That's more than half of the matches played that they've actually dropped points in.
Yeah.
For a league-winning side, that's pathetic.
Yeah, it's not
it really is. I know that they're missing the best defender probably in world football, Virgil van Dijk, but it's not looking good, and you know they're going to have to get him back quickly. They're going to have to find some form, otherwise they are in real danger of letting it slip.
The bin.
Well, let's recap the final game then. Fulham and Manchester United. Well, this is a huge win for United in my opinion.
Massive.
They're, again, down early in an away game, and they come back and they win.
Against a Fulham side that is defending much better as the weeks go on.
Fulham were good. I watched the game and I thought Fulham were really good in this game. They definitely had the opportunities to take something from this, and I wouldn't say they were like deserving of a draw or anything, but they could have got one, which is more of a testament to United the way they played in this game. And I think they're starting to win me over in terms of I believe they can win the league now. United, I think they can. As much as that pains me to say, look, this is a side that is just getting results, and much like City has turned around a relatively slow start to the season. I wouldn't be surprised if United won the title from here. I wouldn't pick it, but it's
definitely possible.
It's these sorts of games that they would lose in the past, I think, in my opinion.
Well, there you go.
Well, that was the games recap of the week. Obviously, if you haven't checked out predictions for this week's video, or this week's set of games, that's up on the Man On YouTube channel right now. Go check it out, let us know what you think. We're going to move on to our first segment of the Man On podcast. We're calling it Kicking Off, and I'll let Julian explain exactly the premise behind it.
So basically, we've all been set the same sort of statement to debate within ourselves about what we would say about that statement. It's going to be different every week, but it's all the same among us, and we basically have to debate the statement between each other.
We're going to start off with one that we don't think is going to be too much debate between at least the three of us. There might be some debate.
It's a good starting point
out there. It's a very mellow starting point. So I think it's just we're doing who's the best out of all of these, rank them.
Okay, so it's who's the best out of Grealish, De Bruyne and Fernandes, and we have to rank them.
Yeah. I think I'll let you start because I think
feel like
everyone knows exactly.
Do you want me to give my rankings, or how do you want me to start this one?
I reckon give your rankings and then your reasoning.
Okay. 1, De Bruyne, 2, Fernandes, 3, Grealish. Honestly,
actually, I think that's the same as me.
Yep.
The exact same as me as well.
Yeah, so I think we're all in pretty much agreement of this. There might be a bit of disagreement behind the reasoning. So,
let's start with Jack Grealish in third. Why is he down there?
Well, he's got the curse of playing for a smaller club.
Yeah.
That never helps. He's very similar in age. He's a few years off De Bruyne and Fernandes, but like he's very similar. Like it's not as if he's like a young and up and coming player. And he just hasn't achieved as much as especially De Bruyne and even Fernandes up to this point in their career. Has played a lot of championship football in sort of the peak years. He's playing really well this season, and Aston Villa are definitely overperforming expectations, but it's not as if they're actually in like the top 4 or anything. So it's hard to sort of pick someone like that when the other two guys are the best player in the top 2 sides in the Premier League.
So the way I looked at it with Grealish is I kind of divided the position they're all in midfield into attacking and into passing and stuff like that. And I thought that De Bruyne is way better at passing and Fernandes is way better at attacking. He's just a bit of an all-rounder, but he doesn't excel in one area, I don't think. I also think he has room to improve. He'll honestly get better, so that's why I ranked him third.
It'll be interesting to see if he made a move to a bigger club, if he would slot in and manage to find even more, like, you know, go up another level, or whether, you know, he'll fall into the trap of best player at a small club, he moves to another one and realises he's not the centre of attention, and he sort of fades away, which we see with a lot of players actually.
The thing is though, I think he'd be the best player at a lot of the top 6 clubs at the moment.
Probably.
On form he'd be Chelsea's best player. On form he'd definitely be Arsenal and not Spurs because they've got...
You know, you've got Son.
But the thing is, he wouldn't be competing for I'd say touches because, you know, moving throughout the midfield, I think Eriksen was really, really good with Tottenham throughout his time there. So, you know, if he were to move there, I don't think he'd be... I think he'd get plenty of opportunities to, you know, play balls to Son and Kane, who are pretty clinical.
Talking about Tottenham, they're looking to bring in a player like... They're literally looking at bringing Eriksen back to the club. Yeah. Would it maybe be worth bringing Grealish in? You know,
I think anyone who can bring Grealish in should bring Grealish in.
Because obviously he's a very good midfielder. He's going to cost a lot of money full stop, and then you've got the English tax on top, which is a thing. It's not just a myth. Like, if you're English, it's, you know, another couple mil on top. So it could price some teams out of a move. But
you know, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if City were just like, yeah, why not? It's fun.
Whale FC stepping up, you know.
Yeah. But look, honestly, in my personal opinion, and this is where the bias may start coming in, I think De Bruyne's been the best midfielder in the world for about 3 or 4 years.
So moving on to De Bruyne now?
Well, I think so.
Okay.
Look, it's in my opinion just disrespectful to De Bruyne to put anyone above him in the world, let alone in the Premier League. I think there's only been there's been a handful of players over the last 3 or 4 years who you could say have been better than De Bruyne in the Premier League. I think maybe Hazard, Salah, Van Dijk.
And Danny Drinkwater.
Dude, you gotta stop with the Danny Drinkwater, man. You have to stop.
But like you see what I mean, you know, like.
No.
I mean, I think Kane has been on that level at times, and I think that's basically it though. I don't think anyone's been on that level. I think Fernandes is coming up to that sort of now, but not over like a really consistent period of time.
So the way I looked at it with Fernandes and De Bruyne is that I think Fernandes is way more crucial to United than De Bruyne is to City. Well, because if you think about it, if De Bruyne is injured, which he is at the moment, City will continue to win games, and they'll still be a very strong side. United without Fernandes, I think, will be a lot weaker.
I haven't seen Fernandes play really well in a big game yet.
Okay.
But it's not the point. He raises the levels around him, you know. He's come in and he's taken...
Wait, De Bruyne or Fernandes?
Oh, sorry, Fernandes. He's come in and he's taken an absolutely, you know, underperforming Manchester United team.
4 semi-finals lost in a row.
Okay, champion, but he's made it to 4 semi-finals.
The thing about De Bruyne is the quality's all around him already.
Here's your trophy for making it to the semi-final. Congratulations.
Why are you coming at me, bro? Chill.
Why are you salty? We're literally saying De Bruyne's better.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that Bruno Fernandes has lifted Manchester United. Ask any Manchester United fan.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. Like, I've got him second in the
So why bring in the debate for the semi-finals? That's not what we're arguing here.
I'm just saying that there's a...
It's exactly what this segment is meant to do.
Yeah, but I know, but it has no relevance.
Yeah, it does.
It doesn't.
He's a bottler.
He's not a bottler
He's
himself.
A bottler.
I agree with you. He doesn't perform.
How many Champions League knockout games?
He doesn't perform. That's... Oh my god.
Zilch.
Okay, well, I'm saying that...
Ghosts in big games.
I'm saying that that although Fernandes is crucial to United, De Bruyne still performs to a larger extent and to a higher quality.
He's just a better footballer.
Yeah, and although City have the talent to replace him when he's injured, he still is complete class. And he's, even though City is full of class, he's still head and shoulders above everyone else in that team.
Right, moving on to the second segment of the video, we're calling it Cap or Clap, where each of us offers maybe, you know, a little bit of a statement that we believe to be true.
Maybe a controversial
opinion. A controversial opinion that we believe to be true. And we just put it out there and see if we think it's Cap, you know, not going to happen, or if it's Clap and it's, you know, a really good controversial opinion. So I reckon we're going to get started with Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, first one.
Let's sit back and
Manchester City are going to win both the Premier League and at least one other trophy, whether that be the League Cup, the FA Cup, or the Champions League this season.
Clap.
I'm gonna give you a clap. I think it's highly probable that happens.
Well, I mean, you're in the League Cup final.
Yep.
Should win that.
Favourites for the Premier League.
Favourites. Well, I mean, still my favourites at least personally.
My favourites as well.
The betting odds for all the betting sites' favourites.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, you're in the best form. You know, you're probably a more sustainable club than Manchester United and Leicester. If you take Liverpool out of it, you're by far and wide the favourites. You know, I'm not saying that you're definitely going to win it, but you are the favourites. Yeah. I honestly think that, you know, you should be winning 2 trophies this season.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Champions League is that holy grail that you still want to win, so you might go all out for that. FA Cup, I can see you just throwing away.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be top 7 if you just didn't care about the FA Cup. It's not a big deal to me, honestly. I'd be happy not to win anything except for all I want is the Champions League. Like everything else doesn't really matter.
It feels nice to win that.
Well, at least you'll be getting the Premier League Championship and then another League Cup.
So. As a Man City fan, you would definitely hope that that's the bare minimum.
So I'm gonna give you a clap for that.
Yeah. Alrighty, Jules.
Alright, well, my cap or clap is the only realistic shots at being Premier League champions in the next 10 years are the following clubs: Man U, Man City, Liverpool, Leicester, Chelsea, Tottenham, and Arsenal. So aka the big clubs.
I don't know how to address that one, to be honest, because it's probably spot on, but it's not a controversial opinion.
Well, yeah, I think it is. At any point you can have like a financial takeover of any other club. Look at Everton are in the realm of that. Like
Newcastle almost got taken over.
Yeah, they've got some quality. But I think the Premier League is so dominated by big clubs. I think that's why I believe it to be true. But 10 years in the future is a long time. Anything can happen in those 10 years. Leicester came out of nowhere. Yeah, I wouldn't have included Leicester if they hadn't won the Premier League.
I feel like at the moment it's a situation where if you haven't won the Premier League already, except for Spurs, then you're not going to win it. You know, I don't think.
But at the same time, we were having a discussion yesterday. You can't even really see them winning it for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't see Spurs winning. I think they've blown their opportunity. To be fair,
they rely too highly on 2 players. They're not the wealthiest club in the league.
You know what, I'm going to go back. I don't think Spurs can win it. Cap.
Yeah.
Just because of Spurs.
Just because of Spurs. I don't think
they've just spent £1 billion on a brand new stadium. That should have been invested straight into.
As soon as Arsenal bought that new stadium, they haven't won the league since.
Exactly.
So, and I do still actually think Arsenal can turn. If Liverpool can turn around from finishing 8th and being consistently in the Europa League and win Champions League and Premier League back-to-back seasons, then Arsenal can do the same thing. They're just they're not as big of a club, but they're pretty similar in terms of size worldwide and stuff. So,
yeah. So I've got 2 caps for that.
Just because of Spurs, honestly.
So if I remove Spurs, it'd be a clap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's not saying that. He's not saying that all of those teams will win it. He's saying that only teams capable.
I don't think Spurs are capable of winning it.
Okay, that's a big goal. In the next 10 years.
I mean, I would have to agree with that as well. I'm just, I don't know. I think I'm more worried about the fact that you've just named pretty much every team in the top 6 and said that it's a controversial opinion. I don't think it's that controversial, to be honest.
Well, it's 10 years into the future, I think.
Yeah, but still. I'm going to go Cap. My one is... It's something that I believe is definitely going to happen. But, you know, if you talk to the media, they disagree with me here. Frank Lampard will be given time despite his slump.
How much time?
I'm saying he will definitely 100% still be in the job by the end of the season.
Oh. Yeah, I think they'll have a faith in him, to be honest.
Because if he turns it around, that will go into the third season. Maybe if it doesn't go the way that Abramovich wants, he'll be given until the end of the season so that they can part ways.
I don't think they gain anything by sacking him now.
Of course they don't.
So you
Who
might
are they going to bring in?
Yeah, you might as well wait until the end of the season, then do a whole another reset.
Yeah, well, I mean,
if he really hasn't turned it around.
Other than Steve Bruce, he is the favourite to lose his job.
Which is not unfair.
It's not unfair.
With the amount of money spent, it's not unfair at all.
But, you know, if you look at who the favourites are to come in, Avon Grant is favourite to come in and be interim manager if he were to be sacked, say, tomorrow. And that we don't get anything out of that, to be honest. Yeah. And then our top 2 managers for next season, if Frank Lampard isn't in the job, Tuchel, right? That's okay, you know. But then Shevchenko, who coaches the Ukraine national team, and that, in my opinion, is going another step
biggest Premier League flops in history.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to flop as a player, probably flop as a manager at Chelsea.
Most likely,
yeah. So we're going Clapp. He will be given time at least until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got one final cap or clap. This one might be probably the most controversial. Newcastle will be relegated this season. No wins in the last 9 games.
I can see it happening.
Horrid form.
I can see it happening.
I think West Brom and Sheffield are going to go down, but I also think that the team in 17th, they'll be the
Fulham.
Yeah.
You reckon Fulham have enough to stay up?
Yes, I do. They've been much more impressive.
Where are Newcastle sitting at the moment?
15th.
But the way they've fallen off, look, someone like Callum Wilson, his goals have dried up immensely, and they've been so reliant on him. And I think he's a very good player, and I've been really, really impressed with him so far. He's been one of the best players in the Premier League, but his form is not sustainable.
I definitely agree they're not doing well at the moment. I don't know if they'll go down. I don't know. I don't think Fulham impressed me that much. I don't know. I'm not really sure on that. I'm gonna give you a cap only because I'm not 100% sure they'll go down. But that very well could happen.
I'm gonna go cap as well. They're such a big team, and all their superstars are pretty much underperforming at the moment. If they get them going again, a bit like Aubameyang at Arsenal, they have the capability to stay up 100%. I think that Fulham, yes, they're in a sort of purple patch right now, you know, finding a little bit of form. I don't think it's sustainable. I see them going down as well. Sheffield United, West Brom, probably the other 2. You know.
We'll see if I'm a visionary or a fool.
Well, it's not even an outrageous statement. Just given their form, given their place in the table, given that they have been relegated quite a few times from the Premier League, it would be a question of if they went down, you know, will any takeover ever happen? Will they bounce straight back up? You know, because if Newcastle leave the Premier League, that's a huge gap in the league. That's one of the biggest clubs in English football. Gone. It is. There's absolutely no debate about that.
Maybe top 10.
That is one of the biggest clubs.
Yeah, I suppose. But you're talking like they're like a, you know.
They're not a European superpower, but you know they have one of the biggest fan bases.
They have some loyal fans, and they never win anything.
Yeah. So that's going to be a cap for me. They are not going to get relegated. Moving on to probably the best segment of the video. I know Julian is looking very forward towards this one. We're calling it the Bumba of the Week. Each match week per se, we find one manager, you know, one player, one team, one individual, doesn't really matter who, that is associated with a Premier League club that we think has been the biggest Bumba of that week. Now, for those of you who don't know, a Bumba is pretty much an idiot, bit of a wanker, bit of a prick, someone who has just messed up massively over this week. So for your first example of a Bumba of the week, we're going to go to Jackson.
Frank Lampard. Look, I've backed Frank Lampard in Chelsea this season to be in the title race. I backed him in emphatic fashion this week to win 4-1 against Leicester and respond to all the criticism they've been receiving. To say the result was disappointing is an understatement. £200+ million spent, and they're not even going to finish in the top 4 this season. 8th halfway through the Premier League season.
Look, he's on the right.
You can expect some growing pains. And the honeymoon phase is over, obviously. We understand that. But this has been not only a joke structurally, tactically, but more in their style, the way they play. It's not been good enough. And Frank Lampard, you're my Boomba of the week.
Just
I like that emphasis.
really quickly. The segment is called Boomba of the, wait for it, week, not season, Jackson. You know, I think
he brought
it's all culminated into this one result that's made me feel this way about him as Boomba.
Two-thirds of this couch did not expect Chelsea to win that game. You know, against Leicester.
I did, so he's my Boomba of the week. It's not your Boomba of the week.
Fair.
It's my Boomba. I picked you guys to win 4-1. I picked you guys to win the title.
As an impartial opinion, I'm not a Chelsea fan. I can see that. I agree.
You're biased. You're biased.
As a totally unbiased opinion.
Oh,
that is complete bullshit.
Oh my god.
Why don't you get a real manager? You just got a PE coach in charge.
Okay. I think I'll go next. My Boomba of the week is Jackson Byrne.
Oh, is that right?
For his stupid opinions.
Is that right?
No. I'm actually going to stick to the manager sort of side of things, and this is going to be a heaps controversial one. I'm already feeling this one. My Boomba of the week, Jurgen Klopp. Deserving.
Yeah.
Idiot.
Arrogant prick.
Yeah.
How do you lose to Burnley at home? Boomba of the week.
And look like a prick in the tunnel beforehand.
Oh yeah, half time having an actual scrap with Daichi. You know?
Yeah, that.
Enough said. He's a fraud. It's time to go.
Oh my god. All right, well I think I'll move on and I'll go now. I'm following roughly along the same lines. I'm sticking in the same club. I'm going for Divock Origi. Okay. Missed probably the easiest chance I've ever seen so far this season off an awful mistake by Ben Mee from Burnley.
Yeah.
Who?
What was that?
Never heard of him.
What do you mean, who?
Anyone from Burnley? Who?
Should we change our Boomba of the week, Jules?
Yeah, how have you not heard of Ben Mee, man? That's sad.
I don't care.
That's like asking who typed.
Anyway, it's not the point. I'm talking about Divock Origi. So, obviously, I'm beating 68 game streak at home for Liverpool. 27 shots to 6 for Liverpool. 4 of which were from Origi, 2 were on target. And not only that, he was substituted at just under the hour mark against Burnley at home. And for someone that's only made 5 appearances this year, 5, a game against Burnley is where you'd expect to make him up for someone looking to make cement a spot like Origi. And he got substituted before half time, and this is probably the easiest chance I've ever seen in my life.
Well,
he is my Boomba of the week. It's just not good enough.
He's a player that not only Jurgen Klopp, but all Liverpool fans adore.
He missed the City, you know.
Yeah, but you know, he scored, what, 1 goal in a Champions League final.
It's not like they were going to lose that game if he didn't score that goal.
You know, like they were already winning.
Yeah, and Tottenham were not going to score, trust me. That was the worst game I've ever seen in my life.
He's perhaps one of the most overhyped footballers in the Premier League.
A lot of it's like a bit of a joke, but at the same time, there was genuine shouts for him being like a good player.
Yeah, I mean,
he's very bang average.
I've seen Jurgen Klopp in interviews. You know, he's been talking about how he loves Origi, he rates Origi, and I don't see it.
Origi.
I don't rate Origi.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that is an excellent shout for your Boomba of the week. I think that, you know,
probably the best one.
Probably the best one.
Thank you.
I mean, mine was a little bit of a joke. Maybe it was.
You went too
maybe
far.
it was warranted.
He called for his sacking.
If anything, I didn't go far enough. I think it's
what,
time
do you want him executed or something?
Oh my god.
Oh, burn it at the stake, maybe.
No.
So, moving into the final segment of this podcast, the look ahead. The look ahead to the week that is coming up. We'll talk about the big games that are going to be played this week. We're going to look at some players that, you know, we should look out for. And I think that about sums up the look ahead. So let's start with the big games. We'll start with the obvious one, Tottenham-Liverpool.
Yeah.
Massive game.
Liverpool need to perform there.
Well,
otherwise the wheels would have just fallen off the wagon.
So Tottenham, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away in these games about what we predicted. Obviously, if you want to know exactly what we think is going to happen in these games, make sure you watch that predictions video. It's a banger. Both teams need a win.
Yep.
It's going to be it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be either a very open game with lots of goals or a cagey goalless draw. You know, I can't see, and with Mourinho in this game, you might expect to see maybe the latter. You might expect that scrappy goalless draw. At the end of the day, whoever loses this one could have a lot of trouble.
I think this is one that shapes the top 4 come the end of the season. I think this is a statement game for Mourinho, perhaps.
If he wins it, you know, it brings him right back into contention for that top 4. If he loses it, you start to wonder, can they get there?
Yeah.
Can they get that Champions League spot? Do you have anything to add to that game, or?
No, I was going to move on to who it's a big week for, and I think it's a big week for your club, Chelsea. They need to perform against Wolves, who I would say are a bogey side of Chelsea, especially to stay in contention for a challenge anywhere near the top 4. They're currently 11 points behind United. It is a real step back for Chelsea, so they just need a result against Wolves, I think, especially since Wolves are struggling so much. It'd be honestly disappointing if they don't even get a draw. So
I don't have much to say. Obviously, I went more into depth in the predictions video. I do think that I agree with you. They're a massive bogey side for us.
Yeah.
In this fixture last year, we won it 2-0 to get Champions League football. So we do have the ability to step up when we need to. You know, I can see us losing, I can see us winning, and I can see a draw. It's a really tough game to call.
Yeah.
Everton-Leicester is a massive game as well. Two teams who
are going to go top 4.
Yeah, literally the fight for top 4. It's not a massive deal if either team loses.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal if they win, though.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, Leicester win. They really are looking more like title favourites every day. Or favourites. You know,
genuine
contenders.
Yeah.
Everton, if they win, I would be pretty comfortable in saying that they've got a good shout for getting that Europa League spot again. I think top 4 is a bit of too big of a push for them.
Oh yeah. I don't actually think that.
But you know,
Everton will get top 4, but
at
it's
home,
still on the cards.
At home against Leicester, it's a really good chance to show.
It's a winnable game for Everton.
Yeah, it's a winnable game for both teams.
This is one where you go, time to really make a statement.
Exactly.
So another game I had to not to look for necessarily, but it's an important game for the relative clubs, is Brighton-Fulham. Brighton have a major opportunity there to really distance themselves from the relegation battle and look to build on a solid win against Leeds, who are by no means easy to beat. So I think those teams are pretty even. If Brighton can get that win, that really helps them get out of that kind of relegation battle and probably cements Fulham down there.
I mean, that's a very reactionary way of looking at it. There's no way that a win for either team take them out of that relegation battle. Because
well, I said it really distance themselves. Though.
It doesn't though. It really doesn't. Because if we're dragging Newcastle into this relegation battle, you can't distance Brighton or Fulham away from it, because they're both.
Yeah, but it's like a 6-pointer though.
Yeah, well, because it is a team right next to them on the table. If they beat that team, it effectively kind of drags Fulham down there. So it's a big week for Brighton as well, relative to their position.
Just the one final game that should get some attention. It's another sort of Europa League looking fixture. Arsenal, Southampton.
Yeah.
Southampton in some fantastic form. Arsenal also in some pretty good form. Big game, and Saints at home, very tough side to beat.
Arsenal pretenders. Are they pretenders at the moment? Right?
It's a very good chance to see whether or not they are contenders or pretenders for Europa.
Pretty evenly matched sides.
Yeah, very even. I personally see a very open game.
Yep.
A lot of goals, lots of entertainment. It would be definitely one for a neutral to watch.
Yep.
Winner makes a statement. Sort of like a 6-pointer in itself, because if Southampton win, they put a lot more space between.
You'd say Arsenal. One of them has to miss out at least. Well, both of them aren't going to get Europa League.
100%.
So,
but as a Chelsea fan, I'm going to be supporting Southampton that whole game. I would quite enjoy to see Arsenal falter, and obviously if they win and we lose, they're above us, so that's pretty dangerous. Jackson, I know you wanted to talk about some players to watch.
Yes.
So who do you think are the big names this week?
So I've got sort of four sort of, not necessarily just a single player, but sometimes in a group. But first off, Bruno Fernandes, and I want to sort of talk about this rich vein of form. He hasn't got a goal or assist in his last 2, which is not a big deal. He's not going to get every game. But is the United reliance on him sustainable? I'm not 100% sure. I think he's going to be very good for the rest of the season, don't get me wrong, but is this going to turn into like an Ozil 15-16 season where he has 16 assists up to the halfway point of the season and then, you know, really drops off and Arsenal go from top of the league at Christmas or, you know, the New Year's Day all the way down, you know, maybe they finish 3rd or 4th. I think that's a realistic possibility. It's going to be good to watch. You know, I did see they can really hold on to this sort of top 1 or 2 spots for the rest of the season. Yeah.
I'm just looking here. You also wanted to talk about the Liverpool front 3. It's
no goals, 4 games.
Very worrying.
Extremely worrying.
I know that they've tried out, you know, different pairings, different systems, but they need a result. And against Tottenham, you would expect they would be their normal front 3. I could maybe see Klopp putting Jota in over Firmino, but
I was going to say maybe Jota.
Yeah, they need a result and they need to get firing.
Their lack of goals is also putting a lot of pressure on their defence as well. Yep. Their inability to score, it's just putting a lot of stress and strain on basically the whole squad. Obviously Klopp as well, just the whole club at the moment. There's a lot of bad energy around, sort of going around, so they need to start getting on the score sheet immediately. Also, you know, sort of Salah's selfishness is coming to the forefront in recent weeks. So they need to make some changes.
Yeah. One player that I just want to quickly address, quite personally, Timo Werner. I think he'll be given the nod over Tammy Abraham. I think Giroud's he's still injured with the foot problem, I think, and against Wolverhampton side that is struggling, it'd be a good chance for him to, you know, get some form. I hope that Frank Lampard has some sense and he starts Ziyech and Pulisic. I know Hudson-Odoi is in much better form than those two, but there's no doubt that there are better wingers. We need to start getting some solidity into the team, and I think with Timo Werner up front, gives him an opportunity for a goal, maybe an assist, and he just needs to start finding
I'd like to see Kai Havertz also playing a little bit just behind,
well,
like right behind in that sort of, as more of a centre, like a canvas centre forward, almost like a bit of a 1-2 punch with those two going forward.
Against Leicester, it didn't really work. We played a very attacking lineup. We had Havertz and Mount both starting in central midfielder. There's no way he gets benched. His work ethic is too big.
I'd bench him.
You
need to change. You need to make some changes, and I don't think
Mount is not the player to change at all.
Who is the player to change then?
Well, Conte needs to come back and he needs to slot back into his defensive midfielder role. Jorginho isn't quite it. Kovacic doesn't work in that role. And if we're definitely trying to play with a little bit more attacking flair with the two, attacking midfielders, we need that one proper defensive midfielder in there. For me, it's all about the solidity in the team. We need to find a proper back line. Lampard's been changing it over and over. Rudiger needs to drop out, even though he didn't play that badly against Leicester.
He was nearly my Bumba of the week, but yeah.
Completely unwarranted. Chilwell, Zuma, Silva, James needs to stay, and they just need to find some solidity.
Continuity is really important, especially the back line. Being able to sort of play with the same players, know their mannerisms and habits throughout the game is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I personally think that almost like a double pivot with the 4 other players going forward. So you had Kante and someone else playing that sort of double pivot, and then you've got sort of Havertz ahead of them, and then you've got Werner ahead of him, and then on you've got Ziyech and Pulisic going forward. I think that's something I'd like to see. I think it's been pretty successful for City over a number of years, and I think Chelsea have got a sort of a similar level of talent and players playing similar positions.
We just we need to start proving it.
I'd really like to see Havertz get a bit of a run, because I think he's been somewhat harshly treated because he hasn't had a good run with sort of form, and also he's had a bit of injury issues.
He had COVID. Yeah.
It's not actually been an easy season.
No, it's been a really tough season. He's moved to a country where they speak completely different.
Someone like Werner, the criticism of him is more warranted than Havertz.
Because he's been given a longer stint in the team. Havertz has been benched.
Just finally, just to end off on, and this one has aged sort of poorly. I've got sort of the assist watch for Harry Kane and Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, De Bruyne out 4 to 6 weeks probably takes him out of this conversation, but it's just the obviously all-time record is Henry in 0-2-3. And then De Bruyne last season, obviously. They're both statistically on track to either tie or overtake that. So yeah, look, it'd be really interesting to see if we can see a big Premier League record get overtaken this season, especially by a striker. I know Henry did it himself, but someone like Harry Kane, you wouldn't expect him to get it, but that would be really cool if we saw something like that.
Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of the second Man On podcast.
Yes.
We've obviously tried some new things today. We've tried to solidify a couple of segments. Please let us know what you liked. We really hope that you like Boomer of the Week. We're all pretty excited about that one going forward. So yeah, I just want to say thank you for stopping by. Please just remember to subscribe because we are going to be trying to get these videos out more often. Make sure you check out our predictions video if you haven't, because I'm telling you, I'm going 10 from 10 this week. It's going to happen.
No, still behind me, so.
Not for long.
Don't forget to leave a like as well.
Leave a like.
So yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. See ya.
Cheers.